Hello viewers, Tim Paul here on the Huddle, and I'm with Richard Williams, partner at Keystone Law. Richard, thanks very much for joining us.
No worries, good afternoon.
We're looking forward to your contribution in our magazine, and you've been in the industry for a good few years, and I mean that in a good way. Have you ever seen a day or an event quite like the UK autumn budget for the UK market?
No, not really. I think it's been seen as fairly disastrous for the industry.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen some big changes, Betting Gaming Council, and the reaction to that. But I think the mood, as far as I'm concerned here with operators I've seen, and other people just talking about the UK in general, has been fairly bleak. That the projected increases in duty, I mean, I've written about this for the magazine for next month, but compared to somewhere like the Netherlands, where rapid increases in gaming duty have had a very dramatic impact on the black market, I just think the level that it's gone to, the doubling of remote gaming duty for casino games is going to have a very, very dramatic impact. And we're already seeing that from my experience, people withdrawing applications, not proceeding with applications, the whole mood about the profitability and the ability of the market, the remote casino market to continue to operate profitably is pretty bleak, unfortunately.
When it comes to how we as an industry can address that, I mean, what can be done when, this is almost an anecdote now, Gordon Brown wrote about an increase in tax rates and used the Netherlands as an example in The Guardian. And just 2 days prior, the Netherlands regulator had come out and said, we increased taxes too high, tax revenue's gone down. And it was cited as a positive example. When you're kind of dealing with almost, I'm not quite sure how to describe it, just mainstream agenda or just process, what can we as an industry really do?
Well, I mean, I think it'd be very optimistic to think there's going to be a U-turn. My other side of my life is in the leisure industry, so pubs, bars, restaurants. We're already seeing some sort of positive noises for the government to try to improve things for the leisure industry. But I think it's too optimistic to think that there will be a U-turn on remote gaming duty and betting duty. Obviously, remote gaming duty is the first to hit this April, so we're very close to that being implemented anyway. I mean, I think the industry's going to be in a very difficult position, but you quite rightly talk about the Netherlands. I've just been doing some reading about the Netherlands and the impact of the rate to whatever it is, 38, so not that far off what we've got in the UK or we will have in the UK now. And the fact that the projected increase in revenue from taxation from gaming, what was projected actually led to a decrease. And we're higher than that level. We're higher than the Netherlands level broadly speaking. So doubling of taxation rates on remote gaming is just astronomical. I think it's going to have a very devastating effect. But I don't think the government, I mean, nobody unfortunately has done a proper economic impact assessment of what this impact will be. So it's not just to look at I think they were talking about an extra $1 billion raised in gaming duty.
Yeah.
So it's not just looking at that, how that will affect and whether that's realistic, but also what's the knock-on effect.
Yeah.
We're already seeing redundancies, reduction in marketing spend, inevitably a reduction in all the other associated things, including legal spend. And that will then have a knock-on effect on personal taxation, national insurance. So nobody has actually done the assessment of what the impact of this will be. And I just think it's going to be really extreme and not as projected. So it won't raise tax. It will reduce tax overall, in my view. And I think the other things we've got to look at, and I know there's been a lot of negative noises coming out of places like Gibraltar.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand these places are remote operators, as they're entitled to do, are offshore for a reason, lower corporation tax rates. But the impact on places like Gibraltar, where a very large proportion of their economy is based on remote gaming and employment from it, I don't think that's been assessed at all.
What's worth pointing out as well is that the billion figure that you mentioned, which came out on budget day, originally they'd projected a lot higher than that. And so it had already come down by budget day. So that kind of tells a story in itself. And I think... let's say in a few years, this is something that has come up as a topic of conversation already this week in other interviews. But let's say the tax, the volume of tax actually does go down within 5 years. what is the conversation going to be? Because it may well be that the politicians who put that in place aren't in power anymore. So it's almost that there's no one who can ultimately be held accountable for it.
No. I mean, I've thought about this as well. I think the difficulty is that, I think it's always very difficult to reverse tax changes because once the money's already in the exchequer, it's very difficult then to say, well, somebody else is going to have to lose out because of this.
Yeah.
So I think if you're going to make a change, you have to do it before it's implemented. Otherwise, everybody's got used to spending the nice cash that's come in as taxation. But also, I think it's really bad for industry because I think having done this now, the gambling industry realizes that Britain is no longer a stable place to do business. And I think once people have voted with their feet and either say we're going to hand it back our licenses, which I think is the reality of it, or they'll go elsewhere, that business then isn't going to come back into Britain. I mean, Britain is a large and mature gambling market, as we all know, but also it's very soon to be a very unprofitable place to do business. And I think, unfortunately, this will be seen through other policies from successive governments, whether it's North Sea Oil, which has had a similar sort of fate, massive increases in taxation for North Sea Oil, and in actual fact it's led to a decrease in overall revenue, plus also mass redundancies and unemployment in that sector. And I think that will just knock on here, and it's not something you can just turn a switch in 5 years' time and say, okay guys, can you come back now? We're welcoming you with open arms. I just don't think it works like that. Once you've started to destroy this industry in Britain, that will be it. It's gone.
Sets the wheels in motion very much, yeah.
Sets the wheels in motion, yeah.
The tone of our conversation has been dictated by reality and the events, the autumn budget and everything that afterwards. But if we're to maybe focus on something positive for 2026 for the industry, from a legal perspective or kind of from what you day to day, is there anything that's on your top of your mind as, this is a really exciting thing in 2026? And could that almost be in the land-based sector as well, which there's a bit of a duality to the budget in that the land-based sector came out relatively unscathed directly.
Yeah. And I have always been supportive of that because we've seen like the bingo duties being removed, so good for bingo premises. Obviously, lifeblood social centres for people in the UK. But I've also always maintained that actually land-based casinos are, highly regulated. You can actually see the individual. You can see what state they're in. They're not drunk. They're not drugged. And that's the best sort of environment in my view. If you're going to have high-stakes gaming and people are going to lose a lot of money or win a lot of money, I think that's the best environment to do it in, rather than just having somebody on their phone, when they come back from the pub at 2:00 in the morning and, they may lose significant amounts of money. So I think through my career, I've often been quite shocked. I have to say it's more historical now, but how many people will call me as a gambling lawyer and say, can you help me? I went to the pub last night, I came home, I've gambled away the deposit for my house with my girlfriend and I've not told her about it and I've lost all the money. And I'm just like, this is so shocking just on a personal level. And I have to say, despite the gambling industry still having this negative sort of perception and very bad press, I have to say those things thankfully have reduced. So you get a lot less people who've lost a significant amount of money gambling. So I think there has been an improvement in the online sector. Not to say, we still see these license reviews, financial penalties coming out. Sometimes you do wonder why the same message on AML, social responsibility, is still coming through with constant reviews and financial penalties. But I do think there has been a significant improvement. But yeah, certainly I'd like to see that move back to land-based gambling. We're seeing a lot of negative press about adult gaming centres at the moment, the proliferation on the high streets. Actually, I think if it was a choice between an adult gaming centre on your phone or an adult gaming centre on your high street, bearing in mind the state of the vacancies on a lot of high streets up and down the UK, I'd rather have the adult gaming centre on the high street where people can be properly supervised, age checked, etc., etc. So I think that's the only positive, that there is a swing back to the land-based gambling sector in terms of favouring that.
Well, Richard, thank you very much for your time. Pleasure to speak with you. First time on the Huddle. I'm sure we'll have you on again soon. And thanks for your contributions, and best of luck for 2026 is going to be a busy time, shall we say.
It is, yes, yeah. And let's hope the moods and the weather has improved by 2027 ice.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.